Now, with so many FPL managers looking to activate the wildcard button in Game Week 2, I thought I'd ask AI to build the best team for Game Week 2. And of course, beyond with the wildcard, it managed to score 100% on Fantasy Football Hub's AI rating tool. So let's go and see what it's got to offer. Welcome back to the FPL Tom YouTube channel. Now, before we dive into today's team, if of course you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe as we're trying to hit 17,500 subscribers before the first international break. And if you want to go and see this team for yourself and of course a free hit team built by AI, use the link in the description. Go and check out Fantasy Football Hub's amazing website. They put together an AI team for wildcards and free hits every single week, along with amazing other features on there as well. So go and check it out, link in the description. Let's head into the defense then, and it's gone a little bit rogue. I'll give it that from the AI. I like the goalkeeper pairing, and I understand why it has selected Dubravka ahead of Sanchez. I honestly feel you could probably play both, like either one this week, to be honest. Definitely could be on the card, so I don't mind the goalkeeper pairing, of course, that it has selected here. Sanchez with the more long-term good fixtures approach. Obviously, you probably don't need to really take Sanchez out for the remainder of the season, to be honest. You could very easily stick with him. Dubravka can come in, of course, when he has decent home fixtures, probably against other bottom sides as well. So yeah, that's why I selected him. The problems I do have are probably with the two Crystal Palace defenders. I don't mind Crystal Palace defenders at all. That's not the issue. It's the fact that there's two of them. I think, honestly, you pick one or the other. I don't think you pick both of them. Of course, they've got their Europa League qualifier game in between the Nottingham Forest game, so before it and after it. Again, that's two additional fixtures right at the start of the season. More chances of injuries, more chance of rotation. Of course, if they then get into that competition, again, there's probably even going to be even more chance with a very thin squad compared to others that will be competing in European football this year. Doesn't feel like the ideal move for me. Not saying I don't like both Munoz and Richards. I actually think both of them are exceptional picks, but I just don't like the fact that it has selected two from the same side. That personally for me, with the fixtures that they've got coming up, with that heavy congestion, doesn't feel like the ideal approach. I think you could very easily probably maybe look at a different 5.5, maybe somebody like a Ped Porro, put a Stev in there, maybe change Sanchez if you didn't want to go for the double goalkeeper route. I don't mind Cucurella either. I think that's a pretty solid pickup at 6 million as well. Chelsea are going to keep clean sheets with these amazing long-term fixtures, and of course, around game week 7, you could make that switch to Saliba or Gabriel as well, with Arsenal looking like they're going to be, again, a very formidable defence. So overall, not too bad. I think the players it has selected are decent, maybe just not the combinations are quite right from the AI here for the defence. Heading into the midfield, and again, I think the AI has actually done a pretty good job here. It's got Mohamed Salah, it's got Palmer, it's got Gakpo, it's got Semenyo, and it has got Kieran Dewsbury Hall. Let's start off first then with Mohamed Salah, who it has selected as its captain for Game Week 1. Interestingly, on the Fantasy Football Hub, it does have Salah as the top scoring player for this game week. He's actually got a pretty good record against Newcastle United, as have Liverpool, sorry. They haven't managed to lose at St James's Park since 2015, and of course, if you look back to last season, that 3-3 classic was a real decent game, especially for Mohamed Salah, picking up 2 goals and 1 assist. So maybe he's lying under the radar as a potential captaincy pick. Maybe people are overvaluing what Newcastle did in Game Week 1 and getting a little bit of cold feet towards Mohamed Salah, but maybe you've got to look past that, look what the number and the data is saying, and it is suggesting that Salah is going to be the best captain for Game Week 1. It's also got Cole Palmer. Like Cole Palmer, is a good asset. I know he had a disappointing Game Week 1, but the fixtures for Chelsea are still there. It's a really, really good long fixture run. West Ham just came off the battering of from newly promoted Sunderland as well, so it's not like they're, some formidable unit. I really could see, Chelsea doing a good job on West Ham this Friday night, to be honest. So I do feel like, Cole Palmer still worth picking for now. Obviously, if he doesn't continue to deliver and his position looks a little bit questionable, then that, of course, will be the time to drop away from the 10.5 million asset. I really like Cody Gakpo as a pick. I think if they don't sign Isak, his minutes are going to be very, very secured. And at 7.5 million, a cheap and easy way to get into that Liverpool attack, yes, please, sign me up. I think he could be a very, very good long-term pick. I'm probably going to only look at him once the window has fully closed and they don't bring in in any more left-sided players, or of course Isak joins the club. If that happens and they don't do it, I think Gakpo very easily could become one of the best mid-price midfielders within the game of FPL. Another one as well is going to be Semenyo. I think as well for 7.1 could be a great asset. There's some great fixtures coming up for Bournemouth over the next few weeks. Of course, this game week 2 fixture against Wolves, they didn't look great against Manchester City. Bournemouth still created plenty of opportunities against Liverpool side, who were one of the best sides for XG conceded last year. They're actually one of the top predicted sides over the next 5 to 6 game weeks as well for projected goals on the 11ify model. So, maybe Bournemouth picks and, Semenyo in this case are really flying under the radar. Still currently under 10% owned as well. So it could be a massive differential and a good shout, I think, personally, from the AI. And I think this midfield is actually pretty decent. Okay, let's finish up with the Fantasy Football Hub's AI draft. Like I said, if you want to go and check it out for yourself or any of their other amazing features on the website, link as always in the description to go and check it out for yourself. It's gone for 3 big forwards here. It's gone Mateta, Evanilson and Chris Wood, which is very interesting. Again, Triple Palace with their additional European fixtures doesn't quite feel like the ideal hop-on point for me. I think max 2. Like I said, just those additional fixtures early in the season with an already kind of, thin squad. And maybe losing Eze as well. It looks like he potentially could be off to Tottenham over the next few days. So losing one of their main creative assets as well could really hamper Mateta as an overall pick. So again, I'm not too keen on that one. I think there's a lot of things that are going against it in my personal eyes as well. I would rather maybe downgrade him to a 4.5 and get Dewsbury Hall up to potentially a different midfielder. It's interesting that he hasn't selected Reinders as well within that midfield, given how much, FPL community are raving about this guy. I thought maybe it would have selected Reinders within that cheap midfield slot, and that's probably something I would personally do. Drop Mateta down maybe to like a Strand Larson at 6.5. I think he's got decent fixtures up until around probably game week 13. He plays all of the newly promoted sides within that period and actually had 4 shots against Manchester City, which all came within the box. I think save that million, go Dewsbury Hall up to Reinders might be the better move, but hey ho, that is what the AI has selected here. Evanilson, again, I'm not overly keen, but I understand why it's done it. The fixtures are definitely there, like we said with Semenyo. The fixtures for Bournemouth are really good coming up. It looks like maybe Cliver is going to be out for a little bit, so maybe does that mean he's going to get the penalty share? And maybe that's what the Fantasy Football Hub AI is thinking. It's going to have penalty share. Maybe that is the reason that it has selected Evanilson, because getting a striker for a very good attacking unit that will get chances from open play, and if he's on penalties, could be a great little asset come 7 million. So yeah, maybe the Fantasy Football Hub AI knows something that I potentially don't on that one. The final pick is of course going to be Chris Wood here at 7.5 million. Of course, a magnificent game week 1 fixture for him. He managed to get himself a cheeky little brace. The big concern I do have about Chris Wood longer term is his security within minutes. They've signed 2 forwards now, obviously the one from Ligue 1, who I can't remember his name, and Jesus from Botafogo. Across the course of pre-season, they were playing a 4-4-2 formation with Wood and Jesus up front. They reverted back to their 1 up front formation for game week 1. Now, I don't know if that was very just because they were playing Brentford and that was a tactical decision, or that is something that they are going to look more longer term at. Of course, as well, they are in European football, so there's going to be a lot more fixtures to churn through, probably with them having 3 strikers, and if they continue to play 1 up front, going to be a lot more churn, maybe some early substitutions as well across the course of the season. And if you remember back to parts of last season, Chris Wood sometimes came back late from international duty. Like, it was very, very close sometimes to him even being available to play within their fixture after the international break, because he's got to go halfway around the world to go and play for New Zealand. Now, with them having the flexibility now to go, right, we've got, they've still got a Wonyu actually as well. So I've completely forgot about a Wonyu when he's fit and available. So they could have, 4 strikers fighting over 1 position. And if Chris Wood's like, okay, I might be a little bit late back, lads, they might just go, it's okay, Chris, you can rest on the bench. Igor can play that game. That would be my big concern with Chris Wood, is maybe where he's going to be flying with some of these international fixtures. And maybe something to monitor, of course, if you did pick up Chris Wood. It's something that's just crossed my mind over the past few days, and I thought I would alert you guys to it as well. So that's maybe something to monitor going forward with him. Overall, I think the defence, probably one change in there, and it's pretty much close to being perfect. The midfield, I think if you get Dewsbury Hall out and Reinders in, that is a pretty good midfield. The forwards, like I said, probably a lot of doubt in there. I don't really like the forwards within the game this season for me personally. And I would have maybe thought it would have tried to find a way to get Erling Haaland within this draft, maybe dropping a Cole Palmer down, maybe something like that. But overall, it's not a bad team. Would I give it personally 100% on from my rating? Probably not. I would probably maybe say like an 85. I think there's some good picks in there, but there's definitely some work to do. Let me know what you think of it down in the comment section below. I'm very interested to hear your guys' thoughts. Of course, like I said, go and check it out. Link in the description if you want to go and look at the free hit one it has done as well for Game Week 2. And yeah, best of luck in Game Week 2, and make sure you're hitting that subscribe button for more FPL content.